the CEO of the center. My experience is I'm an alumnus of IIT, 1984 batch. I have done my management from XLRI, and I have worked in corporate for over 30 years in different functions, operations, marketing, HR, change management, business leadership, and so on. Okay. So we will take up, we'll start with this because this is a framework in which we will proceed. Okay. I think you all are familiar with this in different forms. Right? Anybody not familiar with the BMC? You all had a session yesterday, right? So now when we are talking about product market fit, so where do you think we should focus? Which part of the BMC for product market fit? It's a little loud. Value proposition and? Okay, value proposition, customer segment. That's it? Any other blocks? These are all called blocks. Key partners. Okay, we'll pause that, okay? We'll explain that. Any other quick thoughts before I go to the next? So, value proposition, customer segment is very clear. There's no ambiguity on that. There are a few others. Essentially, the right-hand side. Okay, I know you said partners. Those partners there are different, and channel partners are different. Okay, when you say partners for sales and partners for your back end. Back end is what? It's more of supply chain, manufacturing, your human resource management, your cost structure. So this is, maybe you could divide it vertically here, but essentially this part can come later. Okay, there is no point in building an organization, partnership, if you don't have a product market fit. So we are now going to talk about these two, okay, channels and customer relations. And tomorrow I will talk about revenue streams. There's another session on revenue and pricing. We'll cover that tomorrow. But if there are any doubts on value proposition and customer segments, if you still have some doubts, residual doubts, or as we speak, if you want to clarify it, I'll be most happy to address that. Okay? So, customer relationships and channels. Okay? What is your understanding of a channel? Communicate. Any other definitions?
How to access the customer.
How to access the customer, okay. We have to change the language, but yeah, you're getting there. How to reach the customer, okay. Sorry? Logistics. Okay. Any other points? See, the truck itself mentions that. That's why you said logistics, okay. It is how do you reach your products to the customer? Not how do you communicate. I mean, that is part of the deal. But basically, a channel will deliver the product to your customer. How do you deliver your product? You have to deliver. No, it could be a service. It could be an online service also. But still, you may need a channel. You may need a portal. You may need some kind of a point where the customer can buy. Amazon is a channel. Many people sell through Amazon or Flipkart. Or they may sell directly. So, direct marketing is also a channel. The aspect about communicating to customers, a large part of it comes in the relationships. We'll address what is channel, what is relationships. Both are necessary for a product market fit. If your channels are wrong, you're not getting the fit. If you're not able to get a relationship going with the customer, there is no fit. And if your revenue stream doesn't make sense, or the pricing doesn't make sense, there is no fit. You may have an excellent product, but not affordable. Things like this can happen. So we'll just address the first part, which is the channel, how to get your product from your company to the customer. Okay. Now, the starting point is, how does the customer want to buy? We may want to sell in a particular way, but there is an existing customer. It's not a new customer. It's an existing customer. They have certain set practices, procedures. They are having a certain organization, purchasing organization, commercial organization. They have certain policies. They have certain practices. There is a way of doing things like, all of us have heard this, if you clasp your hand like this, or if you clasp it like this, okay? One way feels better, the other way feels little uneasy, right? This, a small thing like clasping a hand, you do it one way only. Okay, so there are many things which become set. Change becomes difficult. So we need to be, first of all, aware that the customer has a set way of doing things, and we need to find out what it is. Okay, and with minimum change, if you are able to plug in our product and delivery system, it will work. If you expect the customer to change many things just to buy a product from us, we will have an uphill task. Okay, because there will be objections for no reason. People say, I'm not comfortable, that's it. But they are all emotional beings. When we say customer, I don't know if this was covered in the BMC or the last session, customer is not an institution. Customer is not a building. Customer is not a factory. It's not an office. It is a human being. In B2B or B2C, customer is a human being. And all human beings are emotional. Okay, and that is where the relationships will come. We'll come to that. Now, customer may want to buy, he may want to buy instantly. There are various ways in which customers buy, right? Is your product an instant purchase? Is the question. If it's a chocolate or something as a candy, maybe. You'll have to figure out, is this something that the customer will buy instantly? Sometimes he may say same day delivery. He may not wait, depending on, suppose it's a courier service or something else, medicines you want, or organ transplant. You think about your product category and say, is it something that I can do on a daily basis delivery? Is the customer wanting it? Not whether you can do it or not. They may want it delivered and installed. Delivery is not enough. Sometimes IKEA says, do it yourself. But how many people in India do it themselves? They will still want somebody to come and set it up, But there are many people who may say, no, I will do it myself, okay? Then download it. If you're talking about a web product, delivery is download. How do you download is the next question. How do you give them access? Is it free? Is it paid? Do you take some information? Minimum they take email ID, some details. Nothing is free. Information is also some value, right? So download it. Bundle with other products. This is also possible. Okay, it's not a single product. I will buy something. Again, figure out in your own product category what it means. And may want to buy it as a service. So that means they don't want to pay the capex. They are happy with the service and pay as per use. Any doubts?
Yeah, how is instant buying different from something called impulse buying? So
it's the same. Instant impulse buying. See, there are items or there are situations where something is needed instant. Suppose there's a breakdown. You're selling some product. What is that? Compressors, is it? What did you say? Axial compressors. Okay. So this may be a service. There's a failure, what to do, or if there is a problem where the customer says, I want instant service. It's not an impulse. It is a need which has come, and therefore he wants a response. There's an emergency. Sometimes impulse buy is okay. I never intended to buy it. I'm seeing something, I'm buying. But that's not an expectation that the customer has that every time I'll do that. There's a difference, right? This is by nature, a particular product or service is required instantly. If there is if you're logging in and you want to know your bank account statement, you want to know it instantly, something like that. Okay. So what do channels do? Now, to deliver the product to the customer, we said channels deliver the product to the customer. Now, a channel can be, you yourself can be a channel. You can say, I don't want to hire a third party, I will do it myself. Or I will hire somebody, because as a startup, you may not want to invest. Okay, so you may want to take a service of somebody. So what does the channel do? What all you can expect them to do? First of all, they can create awareness, because the customers are not aware of your product. Channel can make them aware. How do they make them aware? For example, you have a new water treatment chemical. Okay, let me not go into something else. Your product is brain
devices. We have this problem of awareness. We are into mental well-being.
Mental well-being, right? So let's deal with your product, for the benefit of others. We'll take it turns. So your product is aimed at whom? Who's the customer?
Yeah, the customers are more towards the corporate busy professionals.
Corporate busy professional.
Yeah.
Okay. He's your customer. Is he going to pay, or corporate will pay?
The corporates will pay.
So he's your user.
Yeah,
He's the end user, but he's not a payer. He's not a decision maker. He may want, but the corporate may say, I don't think you deserve it, whatever, right? So that is the need. Value proposition is, what is the value proposition?
Yeah, we have three value propositions. One is managing their stress levels, improving their focus
Managing stress levels, okay. Now, the awareness that such a product exists has to be created in the corporate. Okay. Now, who is the best person to do this in the corporate?
Yeah, we have activities called employee assistance programs and all that.
You have a program, but in the corporate itself, probably the HR function may be one. I presume, let's say HR. So your HR is your first point of contact. There may be, in HR itself, there may be several organizations which are contacting the HR head for some training programs, for something else, multiple things, okay? They can be a channel. They can be a channel. I'm just suggesting that they can be a channel because they're anyway in touch with 100 HR guys. They're going and meeting them anyway. For you to get an appointment with the HR person may be difficult because they say, who are you? I don't have time for all this brain research. For all you know, it may be a little bit scary for them also, right?
Yeah.
But if somebody they know, like an insurance agent, why do insurance agents operate? Because they are a known face. If I have to take financial advice from somebody, I'd rather take it from a known person than an unknown. So like that, the agent, that's why they're called agents. So therefore, a channel is something you may want to tap into in a short term or a long term. And say, who are the people who are meeting my customer regularly? Somebody launching a new water treatment chemical, for example. He'll go and say, who's the guy who's servicing the water filters? Can I just pass it through him? So what that person will do is, he's trying to augment his service. He's saying, Mr. HR manager, I've been coming and meeting you of many things. Today I want to talk to you about something on brain, okay? And obviously you'll have to give him enough information. He may just give you a lead and he'll say, okay, this is what it is. If you want to know more, I will arrange a meeting with so and so. Then you get an entry, okay? But you have to give some consideration for that person. So he's done the awareness creation, right? Help customers evaluate your value propositions. Now again, as I said, for the customer to evaluate your value proposition, you should know your customer well. You may think everything about your product is great, okay? But your customer is coming from some other point of view, right? So you don't know him well enough, but somebody else knows him, that agent or dealer. The dealer's business is to know the customer, okay? If he's a retail shop, I mean, that's a retailer, but I'm saying even a retail shop can be, if you go to a place to buy your TV, you go to a dealer, right? You go to buy a car, you go to a dealer. You don't go to Tata's and say, I want a car. You go to the Tata dealer because the dealer knows customers very well and he's able to sell. House, you want to buy a house, you go to a real estate dealer, right? So how do they help you? They know enough about the product, but they also know enough about the customer or the customer segment, their mindsets. Okay, in B2B selling, yours is B2B largely, corporate selling. Who knows the corporate better than the HR manager? Very few, okay, in this segment. But who knows the HR manager better outside this corporate? Maybe somebody who's been having regular dealing with them. You have to find that person, right? They allow customers to buy your products and services. This may or may not, you can decide. What is the channel's role? Are they just going to lead you to the customer and you buy it? Many companies sell directly, but the dealer does the sale. I don't know if you've experienced this. If you want to buy something, somebody will do all the sales for you, but finally the invoice will come from the original company and you pay that company and they pay him some commission. Especially if you're buying something from Germany or Switzerland or something, let's say, okay? There are a lot of agents in India for international products, whether it's Japan or China. So, because Chinese or Japanese don't know India very well, so they appoint someone. This person will do all the work, but finally you don't want to buy from him because you don't know what is the original price, right? So you want to, if you're a large company, you want to negotiate with the OEM. So you will say, I understood everything, now let me talk to, because I worked in ITC, this is what we used to buy. You buy from the original equipment supplier, you want to negotiate the best deal with him, and you pay him. You don't pay this person anything, but the supplier pays, okay? But he enables you to buy. Sometimes the company may say, I know there are cases where, for example, Buckman or Xylem, these are water companies I'm dealing with. They make pumps. Grundfos, for example, make pumps. They don't sell. They will do the opposite. They will do all the customer visits. They will visit the customer, understand. Suppose the axial compressors, you may decide to sell it through an agent. He will stock the material for you. He may do the servicing for you because you don't want to invest in stocking and servicing and warehouses, okay? But he can't sell for you because it's a very highly involved sale. And there may be a lot of confidential stuff which you don't want that fellow to know. And the customer also may not want some dealer to get into that level of detail. So you have a relationship, okay? Customer likes your product and everything. Then you say, he will supply to you. Okay? Both situations are there. Okay? After sales service, we discussed it. Obviously, you need somebody to support, right? So start with 2 questions. How do you want to reach your product to the customer? If you are a web-based company, obviously you're going to look at a web-based reach. But web-based doesn't mean it's a single click. There may be various ways in which you have inbound logistics. Okay? So, and how does the customer want to receive it? There are 2 different things. You may say, I supply a dismantled condition, but the customer says, I want it assembled. Can happen. So somewhere in between you have to do this trick. Or you have to erect it at his site. Somewhere he said install. So both are important. See, what the customer wants, you may not be able to provide, but you can't ignore it. Okay, we have a startup which is selling atmospheric water capture. Vayu gel. I don't know how many of you have seen it. It makes water out of air and it gives. So they were till recently selling machines. Buy this machine, fix it, it'll give you water. But it is not so simple. It is simple to say it's like a fridge, plug it. But here, there are a lot of other things. You can't keep it inside. You have to keep it outside. There has to be humid air. There is a lot of other things. So customers were a little confused. And sometimes it doesn't work. Humidity is less. It is set to stop. So he has given them some chart and said it works only in these conditions. Otherwise, it will not work. So all information is there technically. My own friend bought it in Hyderabad. Okay, he was very happy to buy this, and he invited his friends over and said, "Look, magic! Put on the machine, no water came." So obviously he got upset. He called and he started, called me first, and then and the fellow said, "Your humidity is 30." I said, "It won't work below 35." Now this is something which is there somewhere in the catalog. Okay, he should have said that in the night you switch it on. It will fill up the tank, so morning it will come. So there are a lot of things about your product that you take for granted because you're intimately involved with it. You're a startup, you're a founder, you know your product inside out. But don't expect a customer, who are busy with many other things to know everything about your product, small things. In fact, I'll tell you a neighbor of mine bought this machine. He said, I need a 5 amp plug, 5 amp. And he supplied a 15 amp plug. Okay. This fellow had kept a 5 amp socket ready, but he supplied a 15 amp. It came with 50. He said, now what do I do? He had to pull out his fridge and put this because he was desperate to try that. So I asked this founder, I said, why did you send a 15 amp when you said it's 5 amp? He said, no, I thought I'll give him better value. But is this better value? Obviously, it's a mistake, right? So I'm just trying to give you a very simple example where you think 5 amp, 15 amp is nothing, but how does the customer want to receive it? He wants to receive it exactly as you specified. No surprises. You may think it's high value and I'll add something more as a freebie. It may be a disaster. Okay? So, is this point clear or any doubts?
I have a couple of doubts here. You were talking about Voyagel's case. I
Yeah.
don't understand who are the end customers like.
End customers can be, there are ITC Hotel has got it, Chola, okay? There are schools which have purchased it. There are households. There are offices, largely offices, institutions, NGOs, people who are finding it difficult to treat water from the ground because it's saline or it is contaminated. It costs about 3 to 4 rupees a liter. Today we are buying bottled water. This costs more than 4 rupees a liter. Okay, and it's got microplastics in it. We don't know, and it pollutes. Plastic pollution. There is transportation, diesel involved. The carbon footprint of this is very high. Forget the cost. There are other impacts. Okay, Vayu gel is you making water where you want to drink. No transportation, no diesel, no pumping, no packaging, and this water quality we don't know. Chances are it has less minerals. That is mineralized. So there are huge advantages of a system like that, but awareness is less. Being a startup, it's 3 years. Okay, you had COVID and all that. Today, there are companies like HCL Technologies, which are large organizations having 7 towers in a place nearby Siruseri. They have about consumption of 18,000 liters a day for their staff, 120 points where water is consumed. And they said, you come replace everything, I want water on tap, clean water on tap. You put something on your rooftop, on our rooftop, we'll pay for the power. So it is water as a service now. So no longer is he selling a machine. He said, I don't care how your machine looks, how it works. You put somebody, let it work. When I open the tap, I need water. That's it. My staff needs water. It should be clean. I need some metering system. I need a quality real time on my mobile phone. I should know what is the quality and quantity that I've dispensed. And end of the month, you bill me, I'll pay. Whatever, 3 rupees a liter, whatever. So in one shot, they've eliminated plastics in their offices. One shot eliminated groundwater exploitation. The carbon footprint, sustainability scores went up. And so where is the product and where is the value proposition? Okay, so this is what I mean by saying, if you understand your customer and where they're coming, because it's a 75,000 crore company, and if they're losing orders because their sustainability score is less, what is some 1 or 2 crore rupees? See, water is normally a very small cost item for an organization, but it can make a big difference. Tomorrow we'll discuss about pricing, I will tell you that. Okay, small thing maybe, we discussed this last time. So here the customer, knowledge of the customer is very important, and that is where the channel can help you. Otherwise you have to do it yourself. Okay, it's not just selling your product. Now,
the second thing here is humidity is a critical parameter.
Yes.
How did they fail to mention them in the demo?
they didn't fail to mention. It is there in their literature.
So they would have performed a demo.
Demo works. See, depends on what humidity you perform the demo. You do it in Chennai, it will work. You send it to Hyderabad in winter, it will not work. There is a dew point. There are certain parameters which the manufacturer knows because he has developed the product. Customer doesn't know. Simple matter of saying, what are you planning to do with it? Okay, if you're saying I'm having an inauguration function at 3 in the afternoon when the humidity is low, please ensure the tank is filled up. Customer knowledge was missing. It is not the technology failed. He could even change the set point and said it can work at 75% RH. He could have changed the set point. He did not do that because it becomes expensive. The cost of production of water goes up when the humidity is low. Efficiency is low. So with all good intentions, they've done it. With all good intentions, they gave a 15 amp socket. But that is not what the customer wants. That is the difference. Your question is valid, but you see such a simple thing, how it can create a huge miscommunication. Okay. Similarly, in distribution, do you want to hold inventory just in time? It's a huge concept by itself, but again, you may want to evaluate this. What is your inventory? Because these are costs. You don't think that just because you are holding the inventory, the customer is saving money. No. Or don't think just because the customer is holding the inventory, you are saving money. Neither is true, because it's the supply chain which will spend that money. Either the money is sitting here or there. Okay, so collectively it's a loss. So unless you can squeeze the costs out of the supply chain, just in time means very, in Toyota, when they're assembling cars, okay, I don't know if you're familiar with this. If they have, let's say, 2 models, one model is blue, one model is, say, black, 2 colors, okay. The ratio is for every 2 blue cars, they sell 1 black car, for example. Most auto companies made 20 days a month blue car and 10 days a month black car. Why? Changing over from blue to black is taking time. I want to optimize. And it makes sense to say, every day while I make both the colors. Okay. But the problem is, it's not just in time. If you want a blue car and black production has started, you have to wait 10 days. Every customer has to wait. Or the other way around, you wait 20 days. Okay. So they said, no, we will make 2 blue cars, 1 black, 2 blue, 1 black, 2 blue, 1 black. It's not just the color, it means various other, for example, the seats. Seats also may be different, the models may be different. So the seat supplier is supplying seats on a conveyor belt into Toyota factory. From his factory to Toyota factory, there's a conveyor belt, which means there is no inventory. Okay? And if it comes, the car has to be there to fix it. If it is faulty, this seat will be discarded. The next seat will not fit that car. Car also has to be discarded. Okay, this is the kind of issues that people will face if just in time is not simple. There's so much of interdependency in this. Okay. What is the lead time that your customer expects? We talked about instantly and various other things. Accordingly, you have to plan your distribution. When you come to distribution, today you may be, I don't know if you are looking at distribution, but similarly online also you may have some distribution, is it physical or virtual or downloaded. Even the speed at which it is downloaded can make a difference. Okay. So just reiterating this, physical and web based. So there are various points in which a product will move. If you're physically, how many of you physical? You're all physical, right? You're supplying some chemicals. Your chemicals will be packed. It will have a shelf life. It has to be distributed. It will be stored somewhere. Somebody has to take inventory. First in, first out. Okay? And then there is money blocked at every stage. Sometimes your airplane will not load chemical. They will say, we can't take liquids. We don't know what are those constraints. At the port, when it lands, they will be clearing, forwarding, customs clearances, multiple delays will be there. All these channels will handle. They are clearing agents, shipping agents. So if you tie up all that, then only you can deliver in a short time. And all these you should not discover on the run. You need to find out till the customer gets your product and experiences it. It's as simple as opening a tap and getting water. That's what he just wants water. You give him a fancy gadget with IoT connection, this, that, they're not bothered. When I want water, am I getting it? Till then, if you are able to take care of the logistics through appropriate channels, then you have a painless selling experience. The customer has a painless buying experience. That is the starting point for relationship. When we come to relationship, we'll see that. And there are different channels. Okay. Customers can buy, today they go to a retailer, physical retailer, they identify the product, they say, I like this TV or whatever it is, they don't buy there. From there only they log into Amazon and see what is the price on Amazon for this particular item, and they order there. Many of us might have done that. Some others go on Amazon and search and then come to a retail shop and buy because they want to touch and feel. You can't buy everything online. So there is a multi-channel. So you must be available in all those channels. So your customer, even it's an industrial customer. Today industrial customers look at India Mart or various, even Amazon is selling to industries. If you want to buy a pump, you do it on Amazon today, for example. Okay, earlier you have to go to Paris Corner and send somebody. You can't go there, you won't know parking, then bargain. So many other things. And then you have certain policies. You can't return a defective product. There may be constraints. You have to pay cash. So here you have wallet systems. So multiple ways in which you can make the customer's buying experience simple, pleasant, enjoyable. Okay, and if he is unhappy, the return experience should be equally enjoyable. So till he is satisfied, you have to engage. Okay, so and these channels, if they are integrated, see, there are telephone calls. After you buy a product, usually you get a call. Did you buy the product? Did you enjoy it? Are there anything you want? Everything may be fine. The very fact that somebody called makes you feel good, that they care. Okay, so that's after customers, after sales. So you can have multi-channel, parallel or omni-channel, which is linking up. People buy on WhatsApp, people buy on Facebook, people buy on various media today, right? So product channel fit. When we talk about product market fit, product channel fit also has to be seen. See, Tata Nano, you heard of Tata Nano? It failed. Did it succeed or fail? I mean, it's considered a failure. One of the big reasons why it failed. There are many reasons. Anybody tell me? Or tell me whatever reasons you think it failed.
One would be like it's branded as a cheap car, and most people
Cheap
are shying
car.
away from it.
Okay, cheap car. Positioning failure. You said, you raised your hand, so I thought you had some.
No, main reason was Ratan Tata said that sales channel, like he said,
It's
sales
position.
channel, people positioned it as a
Cheap car. Okay, that is one.
Customer segment they didn't identify properly.
Did not identify the customer segment properly. What should have been the segment?
It's in between. If they're below 1 lakh, then other people would have bought it like a bike. But so above 1 lakh, but
So it fell in no man's land, you're saying. Okay, there was no segment. They were trying to put a product in a market that doesn't exist, kind of. Segment didn't exist. Okay.
The operating cost was like bottom with like thin margin.
Margin was low. So what?
So other cost factors increase, they are not able to.
So they couldn't make money selling the car. Okay.
Huge expectations.
Expectation was built up but never met. Okay, one example, what was the expectation?
Pricing
Pricing
was
itself was not met.
Safety, some extra features they
Many features were missing, so people they felt shy driving the car maybe.
actually the main reason they will shy for 1 lakh rupee, the advertisement like 1 lakh rupees, people
Okay.
will buy the car.
Okay,
So, there is no particular segment for that.
yeah, that's what he said, there was no segment.
It's a long waiting time for it to be.
Long waiting time, so it's a contradiction. You're saying, on one hand we're saying nobody bought the car, but you're also saying that those who wanted to buy had to wait and there was a problem there. Sure, that's also possible.
It didn't look like a car, it looked more like an auto.
Didn't look like a car, okay. Okay, there was a channel reason. I don't know if you are heard of this. There was a reason why it failed. They sold the car to whom? Who were the target customer? How did Ratan Tata invent the car? He saw people in motorbikes driving with their full family, 3 children, wife sitting, and he said, look, what is this? They can't afford the car, so they are struggling on a two-wheeler, it's unsafe. So he was a human person with a human touch. He said, I want to make a car that is affordable to people who have families, not husband and wife, but children, and this is not the way they should drive on the road. So it was targeted at two-wheeler owners. Yes or no?
Yes.
Two-wheeler owners. Okay? First time car buyers, but two-wheeler owners. Okay? Now, where do two-wheeler owners go and buy their two-wheeler?
Showrooms, two-wheeler showrooms,
Okay? And where do car owners go?
cars.
Car showroom. Are they the same? So, where was Tata selling their Nano?
Cars.
Car showrooms. Okay? The very fact that the two-wheeler owner went to a car showroom, he felt intimidated. He saw Safari, he saw, maybe Jaguar, I don't know what cars he saw there, Tata, Nexon, etc., etc. And you look at the dealer, he's selling to clients who are well-to-do. People are coming to buy big cars, and that is how the car dealership is designed, to attract, impress people with opulence, wealth. So this puny fellow comes and says, I want to buy a Nano. He says, okay, you wait. Body language, I'm not saying. Literally, he'll say, okay, have some tea, coffee, sit down. And he's busy attending to some, because their money is more there. So this fellow already felt intimidated coming to a car, and he's being treated. Okay, so what happens in such a case? He's a customer, but you lost him, right, on day one, because you're not treating him well. The dealer, I don't blame the dealer, because the dealer is there to make money. He's there to satisfy the rich customer coming, not so rich customer coming. Who will he? If you're a salesman, you will also go and do that. Okay, you're not a philanthropist. Tata's was a philanthropist, but he made a mistake of positioning the car. Many other things, what you said is true, but one important thing is they should have sold it on a two-wheeler dealership. So there, they would have got a tremendous response, because the margin is bigger. The guy would have been treated royally. You're not come to buy a two-wheeler, you come to buy a car. Fantastic, please come. Okay, it's a very small change, but channel is very important. It communicates many things about the company, about the product, about the relationships, okay? And then there are many other things that happen. There is a cost. So everything that you touch on a channel is a cost. Nobody does free business. So you have to factor the cost. If you're building a product which you think, see, direct sales, you may say, why will I spend on a channel? I will not waste money. Then you have to spend on yourself or hire a person to do it. You may find nobody who will understand brain technology and sell it for you. Okay, but if somebody is selling 10 other things, little bit of brain technology, if you tell him, that's all he needs to sell. Rest of it you will be there, okay? So there's a huge benefit coming from a dealer who's selling 10 items, and there is a small price you have to pay. Don't ignore that price. And if that price is not big enough, the dealer will drop the product. See, also imagine, he may be selling many things. He is also selling your product. For him, he is not having any love for any product. It's money. Whichever, I was in ITC, we were selling classmate notebooks. Many of you would have used classmate notebooks, okay? But unfortunately, notebooks are bought only during the season, the school opening season, April, May, June. Maybe sometime in September, semester system people buy. Otherwise, rest of the time, there is no sale of notebooks. But we had a dealer for notebooks, okay? So what do we do with him during off season? That was a big question. So we had to give him Xerox paper to sell, copy of paper, because that was something, 12 months a year. But the margin is nothing. So after some time, he said, I don't want this product. I'd rather spend my time doing, so he used to take our money, put it in the stock market or something, rotate it or do something else with it, rotate it many times, and then when the season comes next, he will pay us the money to buy the next lot of notebooks. Okay, till that time, the dealer used to keep, you can't go and take the money from him because he doesn't need you. There's no demand for notebooks at that time. So dealers also, you have to understand their mindset. They are businessmen, and if you are able to satisfy his need about, competing product not in terms of technology, but in terms of revenue for him. If your product makes good money for him, he will sell it. If your margin is low, you're saying, I won't pay you. If you're being very finicky with the margin, he will say, sorry. He may not tell you to your face, but he will not promote. Okay, so that cost is important, right? So let me give you one example of Chai Point. This is a company which is a startup. So what is the value proposition? They said authentically brewed, served in contemporary environment. The channel is the environment where they sell their chai. Okay? Consistent taste. These are the value propositions. Brighten your day with the perfect cup. So this is the marketing. So customers are not going to drink tea. They are going for an experience. Okay? If you want to drink tea, you can drink anywhere. Why will you go to Chai Point and drink it, right? So that's the value. Customer segment, affluent. Person who can afford to pay 2-3 times more for a cup of tea. Discerning. Discerning means a person who can understand the taste of tea. Who knows, the value of Darjeeling versus Assam versus Nilgiris. Busy office goers wanting a refreshing break. So the tea that is served in a office, maybe people didn't like it, they want to take a break, spend some time chit-chatting and have a nice cup of tea. So this was the segment. Market size for tea itself was huge. Everybody is a tea drinker from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So market size is huge. They interviewed 2,000 customers before venturing. So channels that they looked at was e-commerce. You can always sell your tea through e-commerce. Who says no? Owned retail outlets, no franchisees. Put your own thing out like Bata used to do at one time. Institutions, operators and maintenance of tea dispensers. These are channels. Somebody is selling tea dispenser. I'll sell my tea to him. He will sell it. Okay, I just need to sell the tea. Direct supply. Okay, bulk. But how do they deliver the value proposition? They source tea from exclusive estates so that it is special. Otherwise, why will anybody pay more? What is that exclusive? Nobody knows. Even in a blind test, people may not be able to differentiate between one tea and other, just like with liquor, just like with cigarettes or anything. But the moment you say it's exclusive, you will probably imagine that it is tasting different. They had a mountain trail academy for training employees. So their employees were their messengers or their ambassadors. So they had spent enough care to train their employees to convey the value proposition. Good, okay? The unique selling proposition is not the tea, it is the employee who is creating their experience for the customer. Tea is incidental, but tea has to be special because tomorrow they should not say it came from XYZ. It is a very special, so that they've taken care that it's a special garden from where it is coming. But the packaging is the employee. High quality consumer pack, 60 minutes heat retention, all this is high value proposition. Okay. Concern for environment, this is nothing to do with tea, but they said electric bikes. IoT enabled tea dispenser. So you look at all this gimmickry, the whole thing is delivering the value proposition. So just a value proposition in 2-3 sentences is not enough. It has to be, comprehensive. So this has made them. I mean, it's a little outdated, but I don't know how they are today. But this is the way they have grown. Okay? So they made it authentic. Authentic doesn't mean tea. Authentic means I'm saying I'm something special. So how does the customer experience you as special? Because your employee is driving an electric scooter. So he said, okay, you practice what you preach about sustainability. Okay? We see that your employees are behaving in a particular way, the training, the academy. They publicize the academy. So there is, see, when I was in packaging in ITC, Nokia just came into the market that time, okay? And we had to do a packaging for them. The mono carton, whatever the initial inside box. They also wanted us to make the shipper carton, which is just a brown box. I said, why do you want ITC to make a shipper carton? What is there? And apart from the shipper carton, there is a 3-ply inner layer which is there to separate the layers of boxes. So there's in between. So what is the use of? It's going to be expensive. Okay, but they said very clearly, we are coming to India for the first time. The first thing that the dealer will see is the box outside. He's not going to see what is inside. He will see the MasterCard. It should look international. Okay, it should be consistent, and they're willing to pay. They said you source it from anybody. We said we are not making. They said you source it from anybody. I'll pay you 7% commission on whatever the selling price is of that. So there is no cost. I mean service charges. The 3-ply, and they used to reject on the line. Whatever the supplier is, he used to make something which is wrinkly, crinkly, nothing. It made no difference to the product. But visually, aesthetically, it was not okay. They used to reject it because that is the channel. The channel actually conveys a lot about your product, and the customer experiences that first. The packaging is what they see before they see your product. If you buy a dented, if you go to a shop and you see a can which is dented, you won't buy it. Product may be better inside. Somebody gives you a note which is little, nowadays it's all become cashless, but earlier days note people say, no, it's gone. Still 10 rupees, 100 rupees. You don't want to touch it, right? So packaging is important as an experience, and there are companies which go out of their way to see that even the notes that they give are crisp those days. The experience of the customer is actually buying, okay? He has committed to buy. Having bought it, he may still have some doubts. Did I do the right thing? Okay, did I get cheated? So all these small things will make him feel, even if I get cheated, it's fine. They gave me crispy notes. Something will make him feel that, this is what I mean by channel and, okay. So you may want to do this. I don't think there is time, but I thought if you want to do something, maybe 5 minutes, you can tell us what do you think in any of your case, what are your thoughts on a channel for your business? We can all others listen to you and, one or two of you can share.
Chemicals which are used for high temperature or extreme environment applications. So in these cases, the customers are the aerospace and the defense sectors, which lie among the government sectors. For
Right.
us, the channels would be the governmental procurement sites. Where they
Government
purchase-
procurement site is, your sector is only government?
The first customers are they. So they
Okay.
are going to purchase it from their own sites because they cannot go and purchase it from, for example, like Amazon or IndiaMart directly. So even if they want the custom product from us, they cannot purchase directly from us. So they have their websites where we have to get registered. So one is that. The second is since again we are dealing with the customers in the strategic sectors, there's a lot of personal networking that we need to do, and we need to be visible to them through all these exhibitions and expos or conferences and
right.
networking sites that we do. So
Right.
that will be another channel for us. And the third is, since these chemicals are not just for the aerospace and defense, there are other customers that also we are targeting. So IndiaMart is something that we can put
Possibly.
our chemicals onto it. Other than that, something which is very common.
Who
on our
will buy
website.
from IndiaMart? Who's the customer who will buy?
Customers like, for example, the academic institutions, R&D institutions, research
Okay.
and development institutions, or industries, they can purchase from.
Industry, what kind of industries?
Automobile industry or
Okay.
energy sector, they can purchase it from. Or the pharmaceuticals, like the biomedical industry, they can purchase it
So,
from.
okay, what are they doing today? Without your product, how are they managing?
So there, the existing products are there, but there's a limitation onto the functionality and the performance. So we are extending the functionality and the performance.
So it will replace the existing product.
Yes.
So existing product has a dealer. How are they buying the existing product?
So the existing products, for example, when we talk about ISR and DRDO, they are the ones who are making it. Other than that, it has to be imported.
Okay, who is importing?
So it is an import, like it comes under embargo. So
It's banned, is it?
It's an embargo, so it cannot.
So it can only be smuggled.
It cannot be imported.
So there is no import. There is only DRDO and others who are making it today. They are making the same product you are making?
Yes.
Or
They are making
or
the
the
same.
or the substandard. You're saying you're replacing that product,
Yes.
right? So yours is a unique product, hitherto not made by any private sector.
No, sir. No, sir. In India, no private sector.
In India, no private sector. Why is abroad private sector makes it?
Yeah, it's there.
So in India, it's a restricted product.
Yes, we cannot get it from outside. Of
But how do they allow you to make it? Is there some restriction in making it?
no.
It's just the technology that you have
Yes,
discovered,
it's a
right?
technology.
So it's a completely unique experience for anybody to buy a product in India. You're a stranger, let's say, right? So you need to win the credibility of your customer base. So I don't know. So there is a lot to do. There is one more session on this.
So that is a pain point for us.
Yeah,
We more aware.
yeah.
We are existing and we
No,
have.
even if you make them aware, they need to build trust. They need to know, I don't know what your product will do to their process. Okay, if your product is defective, I don't know what the consequent liabilities are. So there's a huge risk they will take. Are you willing to, underwrite that risk? I don't know. It may not be worthwhile. So you must have come some journey. Your product is proven in the field, validated,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
and you've got some customers.
We have one. Yes, sir.
Government.
Yes, government.
The government has made one purchase, so you're listed in the portal.
Yes. Yes.
How many tons or something you would have supplied so far? Small quantity.
So we have
So,
just given the pilot
okay.
order of 1 kg. We are expecting another 5 to 10 kg soon.
And what is your capacity to produce? What do you think the scale of demand for this product is in the country?
So the demand is in tons, but
Tons.
at this point of time we are capable.
You're happy
of
with few
giving-
kgs just
we
to
are-
prove the
we are-
product.
Yeah, capable.
So when it gets to tons, you can't sell it yourself, or you think you can sell it yourself in tons.
At this point of time,
You still need to tie up with somebody. Is there any agent who can help you to sell today? You think about it.
Yes, sir.
You may not want it straight away, but you may need to start working on it, because when the time comes, you can't go looking then. You may need to find out somebody who has credibility in the space. It could be a consultant. It need not be somebody who is already selling. He can be somebody who is recommending your product. Okay. It could be a retired government person, or somebody who has credibility in the government sector says, okay, this product I vouch for, like an ambassador. Okay, so anybody else would like to share about what they think about their channel? Have you understood the channels somewhat?
Check.
And so once you try to put your product through it, I think you got some idea how you think you could, take it to a customer.
We ourselves are actually a channel, sir. So that's what we are actually.
You are a channel.
Yeah.
Meaning for your own product, you are a channel.
We are actually building a channel.
You are building a channel.
Channel
for-
between manufacturer and the consumers.
You're saying you're selling digital twins, or
Yeah.
you're not. You're in the process of making digital twins.
Yeah.
So this digital twin is supposed to be addressed to whom? Who's your customer?
Manufacturers.
Manufacturers of what?
Manufacturer of products.
Of products.
Products. It will be a car. It can be any physical product. It can be also a bin.
Okay.
So that product, we make them communicate with the customer. So
You
we
have an
bring
IoT system in that, or it's
IoT frameworks. We don't build IoT frameworks. We are an enabler for IoT frameworks.
so you create a digital version of that product,
Yeah.
and then there are some IoT links to give it real-time information about that.
Yeah. And we can bring in insurance as a stakeholder into it. For instance, for a car, nowadays we have only the premium policies based on standard premium policies. Like we can bring in driving pattern, like as a pattern, figure into it. So like how the person operates the car, accordingly we could
So who will pay for your product?
manufacturers.
Manufacturer will pay. And the manufacturer will charge it to the customer?
Yeah, exactly.
That means somebody who buys a car will have to pay more tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly. Like how, for instance, like for an XUV, they have a cruise control framework, ADAS. Without the cruise control framework, the ADAS car costs 21 lakhs. With the cruise control framework, the ADAS car costs 28 lakhs. So with the feature comes and price, but they get a better offering. They are able to maintain the product for a long period of time. We are able
See,
to.
if the customer, that is your automobile manufacturer, let's say automobile, he's making more money from your digital twin, then
The consumer will make money when I do a resale of my product. Like I buy a car, when I sell to the next
no,
person.
you have already paid high for the product. So your resale price will also be proportionately high. It doesn't mean you are making extra money on resale, no?
It's not something like that. We are actually ensuring quality in the product. For instance, if we take a water, for instance, Bisleri is a different price and compared to other players.
So you're, okay, so
So
you're
we-
saying there's a premiumness in your offering.
Exactly.
So you're really catering to the premium car buyer.
We could say like that, but the other way around is like if you take we don't now have insurance for a failure of clutch. Now there's a failure in clutch. The insurance company doesn't help to rectify it. It is actually onto the consumer. But when you bring in a driving pattern framework into the consumer model, okay, now the insurance company can see like how the person drives, and now we could build in a score framework on it, and then I could say like I could bring in an insurance framework itself for that, for which even for failure of clutch he need not pay, because it is not his
So
fault.
insurance
He has
company
not.
will lose. Insurance company will
He'll
have
get
to
more
pay.
business. Like more people are going to go for such kind of an insurance. It's not that all the
More
all the
people
clutch
will
will
go
fail.
for insurance where clutch is also covered.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I
like
say. And the
that's what.
premium can be made higher.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm just trying to construct the
yeah.
market.
I'm also.
Okay. So you have to be very clear. Today, how many clutch failures are there for which there is a loss? What is the loss that customer is? See, if I'm a new customer of a car, I don't know anything. Okay, I will probably buy value for money. If I say, oh, IoT, I don't know. So it may be not a new buyer of car. It may be somebody who is a very discerning buyer of a car who has faced these problems before. If he's a BMW, Mercedes, he says, look, my insurance is pretty high. I'm not getting any service because when there's a failure, I'm not getting the service, but I'm paying a high premium on my insurance. Those are the people. You'll have to think about it. If a person is spending 40, 50 lakhs on a car, how much he is going to feel the pinch of insurance premium, and what is the value of a
That's what
clutch
like what happens in a
replacement?
car like BMWs. The cost of clutch failure goes to around 3 lakhs. So which would actually put in a pain onto the consumer.
So when it comes to channel, then insurance agents will be a channel. So your customers are going to buy. Only
Customers
if
are going to use
their
it.
customer is going to buy.
Like,
A car owner must buy this superior product. Then only your customers will buy from you. But
Yeah.
this value is going. You're saying you're a channel. You're actually helping this guy to sell
yeah.
cars at a higher price.
When
Possibly.
I am bringing value proposition for both the side. Like here I am giving him a value where like he is able to interact more with, give a feature to the consumer where he is able to maintain quality of the product for over a period of time. Currently the maintenance process is done only in periodic maintenance. We don't have a continuous monitoring framework for an existing products. Now we are building in a framework for continuous monitoring. For example, like I took an automobile example. If you took a solar farm, currently the inspection system is done by means of using drones flying over the solar farm. Now currently what we do is we bring in sensing technology, we give a feature to it, we create digital twins. So you no need a periodic maintenance of drone intervening. Directly we give them which particular solar cell is having an issue. You go directly to the particular spot and you pick the product. A kind of a twin if you talk about a retail segment.
Got it. So, okay. So I think in this case, largely you'll have to do your own selling, is my gut feel, because it's all customized. The needs of each customer, solar or automobile, will be different, and the cost parameters will be different. The failure rates will be different, and you'll have to work out case by case. It's more a solution approach rather than a product approach. Right? You don't have a product. You'll have to start from
The thing is, the kind of approach that we have is the product is a platform. Like it's more of like an AWS cloud, where everybody can use AWS cloud. On how you build on it is something like
who's going to build. You are building, or your customer will build.
we give the option to both. Like the customer can also build over it, or like also they can hire from people from us and they could use.
Okay. So maintaining the platform is not a big deal. It's just paying some money.
Yeah, we will be maintaining the platform, and this platform will become like there are some big companies who try to have their own platform. We are looking at tier 2 manufacturers, for instance, like there are a lot of machine tool manufacturers that today.
You'll have to see how to get customers to come to your platform.
Yeah.
That is what you have to do. And how do you make them aware that you exist? And how do you make them aware that you have something to offer to them that they are interested in? Because in their day-to-day thing, they may not even know. So as he was saying, you may need to participate in some trade fairs, exhibitions, somewhere where all your customers come together.
Like the benchmark tool that we have is something like MediAssist is there for healthcare platform. Similarly, we are trying to build something here, but we don't know like how MediAssist reaches their customers.
Good. Okay. So we will run through the second part of this, which is on the relationship. Some more things will get clear in that. Okay. So here, when we say relationship, how do you get customers onto your sales channel? That's what we were discussing. You created a channel, but customers have to come there. Keep them. You have to keep those customers, should not lose them. Okay? And then how do you grow? How do you help So who's the customer again? I think this has got covered. You, huh? People are familiar with this?
Yeah, but then the gatekeeper is a bit new for us. Can you explain?
Gatekeepers are what they are. They may be people who are, especially in governments, you will find, you can't just go and meet a government person on your, you have to first cross certain gates, literally, okay? There are, even to get an appointment in a secure, if it is a confidential place, it could be a hospital, it could be some kind of an IT and compound where visitors are not allowed easily. So these are people. Similarly, when you have to collect your money, you will find that the document is stuck somewhere. Somebody has to process it. There are various players in an organization. Everybody is important. You should not ignore somebody. A personal secretary to a CEO cannot be bypassed. Okay, many times I can give you an example where long ago when we wanted to meet the chairman of an NDDB, National Dairy Board, very difficult to meet that person, extremely busy. Okay, fortunately those days there was only one carrier, which was Indian Airlines. So we used to talk to his secretary and find out when is he flying. We book a ticket in the same flight. Sometimes you meet people in the car park. So how do you know? Sometimes people go for morning walks, you catch them there. Okay, how do you know when he's, so the gatekeeper has a lot of, the security guard knows a lot. Literally he's the gatekeeper, he knows who's coming when. People just walk past, they ignore such people. And those people also will feel ignored and slighted, and they will probably not have a nice thing to say about you if you ignore them. So if you can talk to them, suppose there is some jamela going on, security guard will know what is it. There may be some union problem, there may be something else, which the company management will not tell you. But there are informal channels through which you know what's happening. And there's a wealth of information with these gatekeepers. And normally they get ignored. If one or two people, you can even give him a cup of tea outside and he will tell you many more things. Okay, this is important, especially if you're dealing with government or dealing with large corporates. You won't get time from the real decision makers. But how they make decisions, everybody knows. Who's the influencer, they know. They will say, this person is the key. The boss listens to him every time. You may not know that from any other source. So, got it? Can't afford it. Somebody else will say, you're saving your time. See, we've tried to sell automatic systems in a shop floor. Management said no, because they said my workers will be idle. If I make them automatic, they'll press a button. Why am I paying him salary? Then it becomes a problem to get rid of that person, right? So all these, they become saboteurs. Somebody has vested interest, which you don't know. You go and try and sell, he will be very polite, but never buy from you. So these are people. So it's important to know when we're talking about relationships. At every level, if you make relationships, don't ignore anybody. That's the point, okay? They are human beings. They have their fears and aspirations. They all want promotion. They all want something from the company. And if you help them to get it, they will be your customers, okay? So we talk about the role. How is this person? See, some of these things, they will give you signals. Nobody will tell you. You can see on his notice board, many things may be written. Some targets, some achievements, something. So you know what is driving this person from morning to evening. He's coming to the office at 9 o'clock. And he leaves at 5, 6 o'clock. He's doing something. Typical day. Okay, whatever is troubling him, that is what is important to him. You go and sit in front of him, you may find that he is distracted. Okay, but if you know what is his thing, at least you can find a way of helping. Many times you arrange that person to get a son admitted in some school, for example. Nothing to do with the business. You just so stuff like this may work. Okay, this is building relationships. Your real selling of your product will be very little, but a lot of time you need to understand the customer. You can ask him a few questions. If there is some award on his table, you can ask him about that. So many ways of their names, their position, their age, their gender, what matters, what motivates. So there are many, many things. Do they have budgets? That's also very important. Okay, they may want the product, but they may not have power to decide. Okay, they may say next year, then no point wasting time. So there are different types of relations. There's a long list, but we'll go through it a little slowly. There are transactional relationships. That means there is no real relationship. You go to a shop, you go to a retail shop, you buy something, You come back, you don't even remember the face of that person who was on the cash counter, let's say, right? There's no relationship. It's just a transaction. They gave something, you took something, you walked off. There are long-term and deep relationships. That's obvious to understand, okay? Personal assistance, again, as I mentioned earlier, LIC salesman or an insurance salesman or somebody else who is a bank relationship manager, they are the people you know. You don't know the bank, you know them, okay? That's a dedicated personal assistance. Self-service, you go to McDonald's or you go to some other place, even supermarkets, many of them are self-service today. There's nobody, you just go pick up, you pay and walk off. Automated, most sophisticated version of self-service. Communities, there are iPhone communities or there are various other kind of relationships companies have. Okay, Quora, or whatever it is. So similar problems, company cannot address those problems. They are asking experts, users to address. Users know far more about the product than the company does. Because company is only making it from inside out. See, when I'm giving my personal example, we used to buy equipment from Switzerland, Germany for printing huge machines. After 6 months of running it, we have taken it to a level of performance with those companies are shocked. They're saying, don't run it like this. But our engineers here want to push it beyond the boundaries. So, okay, they have learnt a lot. We have done tweaking, jugaad, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so customers, after some time, they send people to understand how we are using it and made it a standard operating practice elsewhere. These things also happen. So communities are one way of building relationship. Co-creation, I think what digital twin you guys are doing is, a lot of it may be co-creation. Okay, your customer creates your product along with you. It may happen. You don't have all the specifications. You know method. And you say, I'll give you a platform, you create. Okay, maybe even in your case, the customer needs are different. They will have a lot of insights. You use that and then you sort of co-create. Switching costs. It's easy to understand. What is switching costs? Difficult to switch. Most iPhone users find it difficult to switch. So you make the experience so unique that customers won't switch, okay? So these are basically, okay, I don't know why it's got repeated. Now coming to real, this is the crux of what we are talking about. This is slightly different for a web-based, but this is a physical product. What do? There's something called earned and paid demand. So we said you have to make customers aware of your product, that you exist, and then that they start taking notice of you. These are all the ways. Earned demand is something that there's a newspaper article about you. That's an earned demand. You didn't pay for it, okay? Many other examples you can think of. Paid demand is when, even if you want to publish an advertisement, that's paid demand, obviously. Direct mailers you can send, emailers you can send, you can come on a podcast, you can come on a TV show, you can organize a seminar or you can address a seminar on the subject. Webinar also today. Telesales, just calling. You can have a person just calling and it's pretty common nowadays for loans. Partner sales, so this is what we said, if there are partners, they will talk for you. And direct sales, okay, where you go and meet the customer. So these are various ways. The first thing that the customer has is he becomes aware. You don't know that he's become aware. You only know that he has listened to you, or you may say every click I monitor, or I collect the email ID or something. So there is some indication you'll have about how much awareness you created. That's a funnel. Okay, they are not your customer. They have just been made aware. The second stage is interest. Now, interest you will never know. Interest means when your communication has stopped. They have left the seminar and they're doing something else, but they're thinking about you. What you said, what happened in the seminar, or they're talking to somebody. That is the interest. That you'll never know. Okay, but you have to assume that out of X percentage which has been made aware, lesser percentage will have interest, not 100%. Out of that interest, there is next is a consideration. This consideration is, you will know, because they will write back to you, call you, send you a message saying, I want to talk to you, or can send me a brochure after the event, right? So you have had some kind of a communication, you sent a direct mail, you got a response. Or you had a seminar and then you had some callbacks. So this is the first place you know that there is a interest. Then the purchase is obvious if you're able to convert that interest into a sale. So at this stage, okay, you can actually, what is this arrow? You can again make him aware of the wise choice he has made. You can't leave it. You can't, this is not a transaction. You have to continue the purchase back to, because new things about the product, so there is a small loop here which you can reinforce. Okay, he may actually go and talk to other people about it in his own company, in his own friend circles, in his own industry. So a satisfied customer can be your salesman. You should not lose that opportunity. So there is a small loop there. So having purchased, now the question of keeping. Okay, we'll spend a little time on this little later after this. But these are ways in which you can keep. You have outreach programs, call all your customers together and have a party, or some kind of online community you can create. Okay, you keep sending product updates. Obviously, you'll come up with new product variants or versions. Send them messages, have a contest, frequent flyer program, or whatever you call it, discount coupons. Something that makes sense to you in your business model. Loyalty programs. Simple blogs are also good enough. They anybody who buys a product, if he sees the same product advertised, he'll feel good that, okay, my product. Now he starts, if he doesn't see that, if I buy a car and I don't see a similar car on the road, I will say, what did I make a mistake? That's a problem. So there's something called reassurance marketing. So you have to reassure your customer that what they have done is good, especially if they spent a lot of money in buying it or they've taken a risk. So they need. Okay, that's why the follow-through phone call, how is your product, and send them some references of some customers who are happy with it. Various ways in which you can build trust and build relationships. These are all relationship building. Nothing to do with your product, okay? It's all around your product. Then we come to grow. Just keeping is not enough. How do you grow? There are something called upsell. The single P there, upsell. That means you are selling the next version, next higher model, next higher value chemical, something. It can't be static, okay? So there is a higher value, more sale, whatever it is. Next sell is slightly different. It is something beyond what your current product is doing, okay? It may apply in many cases. Cross-sell. Cross-sell is what? What is cross-sell? Any ideas?
Something like word of mouth kind of thing. Word of mouth and making others may feel to buy.
No, you sell a complementary product. You sell a headphone to somebody bought your mobile smartphone. You sell him something else. You could always sell different products. Okay, referrals. You must ask for referrals. You can have I don't know, in every, it may be useful. You have to choose where it is relevant, okay? Now, this is some bit of theory. Once you understand your customer archetype, we talked about archetypes, so you need to get their attention and create demand, okay? How do you create this demand? We just saw that. These are some pictorials I've just picked up, just to give you some idea. You can have a hoarding, billboard. We talked about conferences, direct mailer, special offers. Sometimes you have early bird scheme, because making people buy is also an art. If you leave it open-ended, they will say, I'll come back to you tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. You have to force them, okay? So there is a time running out, early bird scheme. It will not available day after. Webinars, okay? These are paid demand, because all of this you may have to pay. Even a MailChimp you have to pay. Earned demand, something that is free for you, a blog, a chance to speak in a forum, Twitter, all your social media, you don't have to pay. Okay, so this I've just covered. So you have to see what works best for you. You can try, you can make it creative. It all depends on, if you say this is my customer segment, if it's automobile company, but within the automobile company or within a industrial company or within a corporate, who's my first, one is the user, who's the influencer. We talked about the different types. How do they come to know about new products in their company? Do they send people out to attend conferences? Or do they subscribe to magazines? Do they, have some forums where they invite, some kind of interface events? Every company has their way, more than one way of making people aware of what's happening in their ecosystem. So you must be there in all those, especially where your customers are present. If they're going somewhere and some exhibition on some chemicals and they didn't find you, that's a problem. They will say, but I didn't see you there. So sometimes people just take part just to be a PR. Just say, okay, I'm there. Okay. So paid demand and earned demand. Paid demand, obviously there's a cost. This is considered free. You should do more of this. Try and get yourself into some conference, make a speech, okay? Share. Nowadays you can do online very easily. Okay. So we come to another concept. You're familiar with customer acquisition cost? So there are two things you must remember when you're going to market or product market fit. There is something called customer acquisition cost. How many customers do you have now?
Right now we are running a pilot.
So you not yet got a customer. Okay. You have one customer. So how much money you would have spent till now to get that customer? Some number. You will not have counted it, but whatever you have spent, that's your customer acquisition cost, because that money divided by number of customers is your CAC. Okay, you have a customer? Anybody has got a customer? Not yet. So the one reason you don't have a customer yet is there is a huge cost to get it. There is a lot of effort involved. So this is something you must be aware of. Okay, so we talked about a funnel where you have reached out to X number of customers. Okay, there is a cost. Suppose you have an exhibition, you're going to pay there's paid media. Okay, finally, we said there is a awareness, there is an interest, there is a inquiry, interest, and then there is a purchase, right? So that funnel, you will find at the end of it, you spend 2 rupees, you got 2,000 visitors, 2 rupees per visitors, 2,000. 20 of them got converted. Out of them, 8 of them became your customers. Okay, so 2,000 by 8 is, you spend 2,000, you got 8 customers. So your customer acquisition cost is 250 rupees per customer. This is give you an idea. Okay, why this gives you an idea is, we talked about keeping customers and growing with customers. If you have spent so much money to get a customer, you should keep them. Because getting another customer is going to be equally costly, if not more. And if you lose this customer, your customer acquisition cost will go up, because he will go and tell wrong things about you. Okay, so this is somewhat clear. So this is why startups fail. There are many things. I've just put this slide from here. Many reasons why startups fail. One is a problem not worth solving, because it works in a lab, you feel thrilled, you got an idea, but there's no problem. Or if the problem is not worth solving. Building a wrong solution, problem exists. Solution is not right. This is a technical problem. This can get corrected, but that's not the reason they fail. Can't get customers to pay. Another reason they fail. Okay, but the major reason is this: can't get customers cheaply enough. Customer acquisition cost. This is the reason. Your technology is good. You're solving a problem. Your customers are willing to pay after they get this solution, let's say. But getting a customer is the first thing you have to do. So you're not getting customers cheaply. You're spending too much money acquiring customers. See, I've been mentoring startups for 4 years or 5 years now, and I find that they are very happy to get a pilot order. I don't know what you're doing is pilot or what, but it's a pilot, okay? They're happy. Good, okay? After that, they get another pilot order. They're even more happy. After some time, they're getting a third pilot. Maybe the size is, but I keep telling them this is not scaling up. You're doing a pilot after pilot after pilot. You're in project management mode. You're not really in a growth phase, okay? So what you need is, you invest a lot of money in a pilot, get the product right, then you don't need any more pilot, you just sell. Why should you go to a second customer? You say, look, I've already proved it. So for that, you have to do your segmentation very correctly. If your segment is such, okay, that if I sell with one customer, I can sell to 100. If my segment is scattered, so one customer says it worked for him, it may not work for me, then that's not a segment. Then you're not going about it systematically. Okay, so that's why it's very important to look at customer's acquisition within a segment. Okay, segmentation you've done in the morning, so I'm presuming it's not new. So there are 3 factors. Okay, one is a basic requirement. It's a need. That's called an everybody needs. There is something called a want. You know, difference between need and want is there, but somebody can articulate it. Anybody who's not said, you, third year, fourth year? Fourth year. What is the difference between need and want? I'm forcing you to think. Are they different or are they same?
Need is a must actually. But want you can say as maybe as
Maybe, okay.
must have. It's good to have. Want you can
Okay. But which is driving buying behavior?
needs.
So need is like he is facing some problem, but wants is like he needs something extra.
You want something extra.
My target is to write, so I need a pen for it. So getting a Parker pen is a want.
Okay. Getting a Parker pen is a want. You don't need a Parker pen. A simple roller, what is that called? The butter, what is that? Reynolds something will do. Whatever, I don't know what I have. Butterflow. Cello Butterflow will do. Got 10 rupees. But you want a Parker. Want. I don't need a Parker, I want. I think you said it right. You got the picture? There's a difference between need and want, okay? But what are you targeting to sell? Are you focusing on need or are you focusing on want? For now. You're being apologetic. Okay. How many of you are selling a catering a need and how many are catering a want?
Need.
For you, there is a need.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, we'll come to you. Anybody else saying need?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Now it is one.
You want to want a need. Okay.
It becomes need.
Okay. So, yeah, I didn't get your name. Abba. So, Abba, you're saying your market is how big? How many tons?
So like the requirement is going to
Currently, how many tons of the current chemical is being used? Whatever the chemical is, DRDA made, etc.
So it's almost 1 ton a project. So based on like we have 4 projects a year, so
National
4
demand for the
ton.
country.
4 ton.
4 tons per year.
Yes, 4 tons per year.
That's your total market size of this.
So for a single,
So how many customers are there? One customer needs 4 tons per year.
So I'll just
yeah.
give a brief overview, sir. There is a lot of demand to make these ultra high temperature tags that go into the iron and steel industry. Currently, there is no company that can prepare the composition or the ink that will be used to print these tags. So they are all importing from countries like Japan and China, and they're all on, will soon be on embargo. So we have these formulations that can go into the printing of tags. So all the iron and steel industries.
No, let's, okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understood
So that is
let's-
the scale of the demand is what we are
Okay,
trying to
there
say.
is a demand. We
Yeah.
come to demand. Right now, without your product, when did you launch your product?
6 months.
So before that,
They were all importing.
they were importing.
Yeah.
So 6 months back, there was an embargo, is it?
No, we are trying to provide an alternative chemical.
You're providing an alternative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
So
is
the need
cheaper.
already fulfilled today?
Yes, to an
Need is
extent.
fulfilled.
Yes,
Whatever extent it is fulfilled.
yes. But we are having this cheaper
What you're doing,
alternative.
There is no need, literally speaking. Suppose 3 of you decided to focus on some other business tomorrow, argument's sake. Business, whatever existing customers will continue. Something will happen,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
There is no need. You may say drones. Okay, there is no need. You're saying I want to make them convert it into a need. That's different. Okay, all of you may look at it. There is no need for a digital twin. For the last 100 years and more, automobiles have been there. Everything has been there. Okay, Parker pen or no Parker pen, people will continue to write. Maybe people stop writing. They are typing into keyboard now, or they're speaking into it, not even typing. So pen itself may as a category maybe. I was in stationery and I realized pen, paper, all that may sort of disappear, or at least have a. So it's always a want. Okay. If it is a need, it's a basic need. It's like dal chawal. That is a need. See, during COVID, All of us survived the COVID, okay? Our needs were met. 1.5 years, 2 years, all our needs were met. Wants were not met. Okay, so all of us, so whatever we are doing is, needs are anyway there. Before you were born, I was born, needs have been met. Wants keep changing. What does advertising do? It creates a want, not creating a need. Nobody needs to eat a burger to live. Maybe it may be harmful. Nobody needs to smoke a cigarette. Nobody needs to drink wine. Nobody needs to do many things. Okay? So let's say, yes, I want to travel from place A to place B. That's my need. Okay? How many ways I can do it? Many ways. Okay? So do I travel economy class? Or if I say I want to travel in 2 hours, then I have to fly. Then my need is to fly. I can't take a train, but I can fly economy class, I can travel business class, I can travel first class, whatever, right? So which class I choose as my want is not my need. And if you are selling something, you said you are selling a luxury, somebody said luxury, cars, high end. There's always a want. Okay, but this is the biggest thing you have to address. You may have a want, I may want everything. I want to want first class. But that is not everything. I must have the ability to pay. So if you're meeting a customer, you need to see if they have the ability to pay for what you're charging. And if the want is strong enough, they will pay. If my need to whatever, prestige or something is far more. See, convenience also. I want to travel air-conditioned class because it's convenient. It costs more. Okay, comfort, certainly. Okay, so but if I don't have the money to pay, I will hitchhike and go also. My need is to get one place. Okay, is this clear? So customer acquisition will occur only if you understand all the three. Needs, first of all, the need, you have to see what is that need. If that need is met, you have a challenge in selling it because he's just going to pay more if he's going to pay more. If he's going to pay less, then he wants to save money. His want is something else. You're not addressing a need for the product, you're addressing a need for saving money. So you're changing that, okay, equation. Yeah. Okay. So how do you find out who's an early adopter, innovator, who's a late majority, who's a laggard? How do you find out? It's important to sell to them. These people will not buy. They won't be the early birds. There are people who want to watch Rajnikant or some first day, first show. There are people, right? Not everybody does. Do you do? Do you do first day, first show? So you may not be in that category, okay? But is there something else you may do first? I don't know. Okay, so depending on the nature of the product, so the only way to find out who's an early adopter is by doing more and more customer interviews. There is no magic. You can't sit in your office, sit in your lab and do this. You have to meet hundreds and hundreds of customers. There is a way. How do you identify? Even if you meet a customer, 100 customers, how do you know he's a innovator or early adopter? How do you know? What kind of questions you will ask him, which will give you a clue. See, there you need evidence. You can't go and ask him, are you an early adopter? You won't get a straight answer. But that's not an evidence also. That's just a wish. But is he an early adopter? You need data, evidence, okay? So you are trying to solve a problem. Let's assume you are all trying to solve a problem. Some problem, okay? So, which means the problem must exist. Okay, let us also assume the problem exists. The person who's suffering may be aware, may not be aware that he has a problem. Not everybody is aware they have a problem. Okay? Not everybody is smart or not everybody is well informed, whatever reason you can give. They have preoccupations, they are worried about something. So some people are aware, some people are not aware. Okay? So certainly the innovators, early adopters will be people who are aware. If he is not even aware, there is no chance that he has even felt the problem. You can't go and tell him, I think you have a heart problem or brain problem or something. You can't tell them, will you? Let's say in your case, you're saying stress busters or something you're offering. People may be aware. Many companies will say, no, our HR policies are excellent. I don't think we need your solution. They will feel actually what do you call, upset that you are challenging them, saying you don't know how to manage your people. Can happen, right? So they can never be your early adopters, okay? But so one question is to say, okay, there are people who are aware. Among them, there are still categories of people who are aware and who are resigned to, they say it's a chronic, I always have a chest pain, I don't know what to do, that's it. I'll live. I've been living with this pain for a long time, chronic. There are people like that. So even in the organization, they will say, yes, I think stress is a necessary thing. I don't think we can do. They ignore it. They will tell people, I don't care, it's none of my business. I want you here at 9 o'clock, you work overtime, whatever pressure keeps coming on the employees. Company does very little to alleviate it. Or even if they do something, they are saying, we have done everything possible, this is it, okay? So, that is also evidence for you. People are saying, yes, I have a problem, but I am choosing to live with it. He is also not your customer. But if you find a company which says, I have been trying various things, okay, that is evidence. He is having a problem, he has not been sitting on the problem. He is trying something, may not have succeeded. He is attending some conferences or doing some, industry, Google search, research, trying to find out, you may have some competition, he must have, or he's put a gym in his office. People do all kinds of things to release stress, or if there is some insurance related, there are companies which says that, I don't know why clutches are not getting, I wish there was somewhere he's giving you a hint that he's an early adopter. So that is evidence because he has done something. It's not just a thought. If you say it's a great idea, it's not your customer. He will still say, let somebody else try it out. But he is actually, to get to that person, you have to do a lot of work. But once you find one or two, you can easily sell. They will develop the product for you. They will actually tell you, do it this way, whatever, because they have done enough work and they are knowledgeable about once that happens, these people will come. People are suffering the pain and given up. Said there is no solution, I have to live with it. But if they see a solution working somewhere else, they will come. Okay? So these two categories are easy because they are aware of the pain or they are aware of their want or need, whatever you say. But crossing that chasm, which he said, is not. So most startups succeed here. And they think they are doing a great job. Fantastic. I've got so many customers. I don't know how many customers will be in that segment. But it is difficult to go here from there. You don't have to worry about it now. Just keep it in mind that just because you got early adopters, because they are ready-made, it requires very little convincing to get them. To go to the late, because here, I will come back to it later, the cost, see here the customer acquisition cost is something. We said it is high, okay? But it will come down. As you go down, it will come down because more and more customers are coming, so your same cost you're getting. But here again, it will go up again. Because to go from that segment to the next segment, you have to invest a lot of marketing, expenditure. This is a huge segment. These people are not easy to convince. Okay. So what evidence? We've just discussed it. Who are your influencers? Once you know these people, how will they discover your product? That's where the channel and all those things we talked about came, because they should come to you instead of you going to them. Okay. We discussed all this. Sorry, I'm going back. So this one, you can do this later, okay? Because this, again, we said there are different types of customer archetypes, and if you can take one of your potential customers, do this exercise. What is their pain and gain, how you're going to address it. Then there is something called lifetime value. We talked about customer acquisition cost, we are talking about lifetime value. We have some time, Ramya? 5-10 minutes? Yeah, okay. Okay. Any idea what is lifetime value? It's obvious, okay? For one customer, how much money you'll continue to get, because you spend money acquiring that customer. So should lifetime value be more or less than acquisition cost? It's not a trick question. Anyway, should be more. How much money they will generate over. So we talked about we touched this point earlier. So first step in keeping is deliver on the promise. Your first supply fails, then you have a problem, okay? Then every touch point. If you order food on Swiggy, how many touch points are there? 4? Which are the 4?
Tracking, ordering.
Yeah. Essentially, delivery, you're ordering and delivery. There are 2. In between, you can say tracking, but essentially there are 2. So these, both the touch points, if the Swiggy guy comes all sweaty and gives you, that's it. Okay, or the ordering is painful. So there are 2 touch points for the customer. And the tracking, yes, if you say tracking is the third one, if there is no information, suddenly somebody lands up, that's also, so there are 3 touch points. So every touch point, in the case of physical product, there will be packaging, and we discussed this before, shipment time, if you're committed 5 days transit time, you cannot say some shipping agent delayed it. You should choose the right shipping agent. Okay, billing, there are errors in the invoice. People will find, then there are nuisance value, rework at the customer end, collection, okay, customer service, after the sales, so you have to figure out what are the touch points for your customer, and everywhere he is experiencing your product or your company. If you take care of all of them, only you can keep. If one of them fails, you have a chance of losing the customer. Okay? So, is it enough to just give what you promised, or you want to go beyond? You can look at this later. Once you know the customer, how do you exceed the expectation? How do you delight? Okay, there are some examples. I mean, you can also Google and find out. I don't have much time, but you can think of how you can delight customers, giving them more than what they wanted. Okay, and for that you need to anticipate future needs. If you know your industry well enough, see, mobile companies keep doing this, on OTT platforms keep doing, they know customer needs are changing. So they try to, there is a famous quote by, this ice hockey player, forget his name, Brodsky or something, Polish player. He used to score all the goals, most of the time, okay. Messi must be, I don't know who's a footballer equivalent. Somebody asked him, how is it that you're always there where the puck, that's called a puck, which is used in ice hockey. How come you're always there where the puck is? Puck is near the goal, he is there to shoot it. That's how he scored maximum goals. He said, I'm not there where the puck is. I am there where the puck is going to be. Okay, so you know there is a time for you to develop a product. So you can't develop a product for today. You have to develop a product for the time that you will take to develop it, future needs. So how do you anticipate? Okay, and that is how you will retain customers, otherwise they will go away. For that in-depth understanding, all that. So all this stuff is there. I can share it later if you want. So you have various ways of keeping customers informed that you are doing something for them. You are an industry player. You are not a fly-by-night operator. You are very much part of that. If you say heavy metals industry, you are part of you are not just supplying chemical. You know about furnaces. You know about paints. You know about. See, when I was selling tea, packaging for tea, I knew everything about tea. What is the first flush? What is second flush? Difference between Darjeeling, what is CTC, what is Orthodox, what is Russian, Sri Lankan, Kenyan tea, how to vacuum pack it, what causes spoilage. I even did tea tasting. Okay, so when a customer talks to you, liquor industry, we did the same thing. Every brand, what is the competition doing, what are the international trends. So they look at you as a kind of person whom they can chat with about their industry. So if you just talk about brain research, they may, I'm giving an example, okay? But if you say human relations, because that's what the HR manager is interested in, they will definitely want to keep talking to you and not let go, right? And this can come not in face-to-face, in blogs, in all kinds of, engagements you have. But still customers may leave. Why do they leave? First is non-compliance. If your product fails, if you say high temperature, it doesn't perform, you lost it, okay? Service, you didn't deliver, you promised, you didn't deliver, there was a quality problem, you didn't address it. Services, many things, okay? Dissatisfaction with quality, it can very specifically, quality is a qualifier, it's not a winner. It is given. You cannot say better quality, there is only one quality. That quality has to be delivered. Competitive products, keep an eye on your competition, whoever they are. Most of the time, if you ignore competition, you will lose the game. Okay? Obsolescence, this is what I said. You have to look at future needs. Many product, Kodak became obsolete. I mean, all of us know the story. Okay, so there are several examples of products becoming obsolete. Priorities keep changing for the customer because the environment changes. Suddenly, if import is allowed, today you're saying it's banned. If import is allowed, what happens to you? Are you ready to compete with the international product? If so, how? Okay, if you prepare for that now, tomorrow you don't have to worry. Behaviors change, okay? Lifetime value, we talked about this before. Cross-selling, complementary products, upselling, additional needs that you can anticipate and work on. Additional needs, okay? Can be additional wants. Next selling, ask for a long-term contract. You say, if you're selling chemicals once, you say, you buy, how many tons, some 3-4 tons you said. Give me an order for, 500 kgs or half a ton, 2 tons, next 6 months, I'll give you a better deal. Unbundling. Unbundling is if the whole product is too big for them to buy, you can break it up. If you're giving a package, don't try to push a package each time. You just say, try one something, right? After some time, try something else. Or if you're, so these are various ways in which you can get more and more from the customers, because each piece of the bundle can sell at a higher price than the package. So not everybody can buy a package. Even a customer has bought it once, he may say second time, third time, they may hesitate. You break it up and give it, okay? Referrals we already discussed. It's the most powerful way of getting a new customer. So we looked at this, upselling, clear? Feature phone to smartphone, cross-selling, clear? Unbundling. So airlines, you have this, pick a seat, you pay now. Everything is, earlier there was nothing like that, okay? You want a meal, you want a different meal. So everything is unbundled. So people are willing to buy. They can even today book a car for you if you land in the airport. So Make My Trip does everything. End of the day, what are you doing? Your lifetime value should be far more than your CAC. So focus on this. It's obvious. As I told you before, this customer acquisition cost, early stage it will keep going up because you have a problem, your organization is not ready, your acquisition process is not in place, you're not even clear who your customer is, all those challenges you may be facing now, so it will be high. Once repeatability happens, once you got a segment, once you got one customer in the segment, then repeat are coming, then automatically the denominator will go up and your cost will come down till you find that chasm that we said before. Again it will go up, your competition will enter, something else will happen, your novelty feature is gone. Okay, but you can't give up here. Many startups give up here when they try to scale up, because your cost structure will change. You are no longer a founder, you will be running a large corporation and you'll have to trust people to run it. You can't do everything yourself. So the delegation challenges come, training of subordinates will come, building trust will come, new features. So I've given some, okay, so you can again do this for you, what earned media, paid media will work for you best. Get strategy, how do you get new customers? How do you estimate your cost? All of you can work it out. Which will give you the least customer acquisition cost? You have to find out. How will you retain? How will you prevent churn? How will you prevent them leaving you? Again, cost of keeping versus cost of getting. You have to do this trade-off, because many times you may say, I don't want to keep. Not that keeping is a must. If getting new customers is easy, you keep on getting new. Amazon, they don't think about keeping customers. They just get new customers. They don't have, I don't know, are they? Amazon is not bothered, right?
They have Prime membership and all that.
They have Prime membership, yeah. So what is your plan to grow? You should have a plan to grow. Okay, and how will you use web mobile, even if you're not a web mobile kind of a product, how can you use that? Okay, to build relationships. Okay, so all this I've covered in different ways. These I don't want to touch. We can do this tomorrow. Again, I think some repeats have happened. Sorry about that. So So what can drive the balance? Customer acquisition cost has to come down. If you make it viral, it will come down. Whatever you are selling, how do you make it viral? How do you get more people to talk about it? Inbound marketing, I mean, how get people to come to you instead of you going there? You can have just a click or give them a QR code, various ways of put it up in places, in railway stations, wherever you think your customers are, accumulating. HR conferences. How do you get them to come to you? Free and freemium, make it free, easy, everybody will try, this is well known. Open source, it's easier for people to buy an open source than a dedicated thing. Free trials, touchless conversion, insights. So these are some ideas, strategic partnerships. And here recurring revenue, we looked at this, okay, cross-sell, upsell. Pricing can be scalable. You can give discount for bulk. Okay, lead generation, including product line expansion. You don't think one product. You may have customized product for different segments, sub-segments, different colors of paint, whatever is possible. Because sometimes just differentiating gives the perception of difference. The product may not be different. Okay? I can tell you that Wills and Bristol, the two cigarettes we were selling, tobacco was the same. Brand was different, price was different, everything was different. Customer again not buying to smoke, he's buying for a lifestyle. He's buying for certain value proposition, okay? So that's about it. I don't have much, these are all some activities I plan, but we can do this later. I can share this. Any questions?
When we were talking about Chai Point,
Yeah.
they're just doing whatever CCD do.
It may seem so apparently.
Yeah.
CCD was getting, what are the things CCD did?
Yeah, they also have the IoT dispenser, quality employees, training. They did everything.
Yeah.
So
Did they use, see, you look at CCD, look at Chai Point. What is your impression of CCD as a company? What comes first to your mind?
okay, a dispenser because we use them every day.
Dispenser?
Yeah, we use them. It's a coffee dispenser. Like we use them every day, and that's something come to my mind.
It's a place where you can simply go and sit and have a cup of coffee. And
Yeah.
I think they meant it to be a socializing place. Their positioning was people can just walk in, enjoy a cup of coffee, and stay as long as they want. I don't think Chai Point was that. Chai Point was not a place where you can sit and enjoy a whole day. It was meant for people to take a break, go to the nearest Chai Point, enjoy excellent cup of tea. See, the taste and the experience of tea drinking was taken to a different level.
True.
I don't know whether CCD said coffee is, at CCD is the best. I don't know.
And also Chai Point had a unique delivery system. They can deliver chai to your place.
They have
The
delivered
packaging
chai in
was
that
very
package,
interactive.
which are a 60-minute.
CCD could not have done that. They cannot package and give tea. Chai Point can pack tea for you and give it to your place also. They have a very unique packaging system.
Correct.
That even Chai Kings now is also taking over, like Chai
Yeah.
Point and all.
Yeah,
We never thought tea can be parcel to places.
parcel to places and remain hot.
Yeah, and remain hot.
If you
That
want a
was
hot
very
cup of
useful.
tea, you have to go out. But can I sit here and have a hot cup? Not just an ordinary cup of tea, special cup of tea, okay, which remains hot. I mean, you have more than 2 cups in that. You pour, you can seal it again after some time, you can have. It's a flask come tea. So it's obviously high priced. But why will a customer pay? It's a want, right? Why will they pay? It's not that they don't have money to buy. See, if you're having 5 rupees for a cup of tea, you can even pay 15 rupees and have a cup of tea. It's not going to make a hole in your pocket, right? They have understood that value proposition and saying, for 15 rupees, if I can give a great experience, which a customer may need to, I don't know, buy a chocolate or buy something else. You are trying to capture something which is not part of the current experience and bundling it and saying, this is my value proposition. So tea is enough. So, but to make it authentic, see, more than the fact that the tea tastes good, there was this promise that they made of it being sustainable. The packaging was considered sustainable. It was cardboard box. So that means it is recyclable. So you're talking sustainability there. You're talking about your EV vehicles delivering the tea. sustainability. Okay, you're talking about employees who are specially trained so that they don't waste whatever you want to convey through that. So once you decide your value proposition, your entire organization must be aligned to that. If any one is not aligned, your customer will see some dissonance, and the whole value proposition you have may collapse because it doesn't make sense. I think these people are just showing something, but they are not genuine. The authenticity has to come, which I don't know, Coffee CCD may have achieved in some other way. If they've said people can just, my value proposition, just come and spend whole day. They did that. How many people felt that as value? We don't know. Again, competition may have come, changed it, done something with it. So there is no right answer in this. It is to understand the market, understand sometimes the want is something that doesn't exist. We create a want. Okay?
So I also want you to throw some light on the want and need, sir. Before 10 years, the smartphone was not, it was a want. But
Yeah.
today it's a need. Anyone and everyone has a smartphone with their hands. So is there a probability of our product changing from a want to need? I want you to have some discussion about that.
Again, we can use the COVID. It's a psychological thing. When you say, I need it, the question is, as he was trying to say, I will convert the want into a need. Today, if you don't have a smartphone, you're saying today you need a smartphone.
Yes.
Huh? Suppose you forget it and come to office one day, what will happen?
Sir, most of our works will be not in pace. Like, we'll be missing our phone. We can't check WhatsApp, emails easily. Even though we have it in our laptops, it's not that ease of access. Just taking it. So we'll feel bored sometime, and we can't have our work done properly or in time. So we miss our phone. Like, we can't have our work done properly.
True. So what it means is that to sustain a high level of performance, which you're used to, you need a cell phone or whatever, smartphone. But without a smartphone, it doesn't mean you can't perform. Your performance will drop.
Yes.
You may be dependent on something else, alternative information. People have left their smartphones and for a few days they have survived. It's not a need in that sense.
Okay.
In a context, you may say it's a need.
Okay.
So, but in a competitive environment, like, it will become a need, right?
Yes, if you're saying without the smartphone my business will not survive, it's a need.
Because
Today many businesses are such that they just go by digital. If you want to buy something, even if you don't have your wallet, you're fine.
Good.
If you have a smartphone, today in India you can go anywhere without your wallet. You just need your smartphone. To that extent the need is, but doesn't mean if you don't have forget your smartphone, you can't survive. The need is basically a survival need. Okay? People are not driven by needs. Hunger is a need. Food is a need. What you eat can be anything. Information is a need. But is that the same need as hunger? That's a question we have to ask. And it's all contextual. There is no, I would say, other than basic need of survival, you need air. You need clean air. That is definitely a need. It's not a want. But API or air quality index is poor. You want fresh air. Yes, that is also a need because you may fall sick. Beyond that, you may not need anything. See, every other creature is living fine. So many human beings. So need is essentially a survival requirement. If it's for a business, as you said, business survival may need something. If it's individual survival, is different. So business survival, in a competitive situation, if you think this gives you a cutting edge, that's a need.
So then we can take it as there's only a customer want. We don't have a customer need.
There is a customer want. If you find a need is fantastic today, I'm saying.
Okay.
If you're saying you're addressing a need, unfulfilled need of a customer, you hit a gold mine.
Okay.
I don't know if that is the case. Most of the time, most of the needs are fulfilled because Things are happening.
Yes.
But if suppose suddenly there's an earthquake or something calamity has happened, so the new needs may arise,
Okay.
which is not fulfilled. Those are I will say coincidence. You can't plan for that.